the gentleman for his excellent questions. Now I have the pleasure of recognizing Mr. Bilirakis from Florida to question for 5 minutes. And I'd like to note that for those that may not know, his father preceded him in Congress and was the chairman of this subcommittee. A wonderful chairman and still a wonderful friend. So you have 5 minutes to question, Mr. Bilirakis.
I appreciate that. Thank you so very much. It's an honor to serve on this committee and to serve under you as the chairwoman and also the ranking member. I won't forget that. So anyway, thank you very much, and thank you for your testimony. Appreciate it very much. Mr. Weisky, in your testimony, you talked about how in Wisconsin the insurance markets were damaged by the exchanges. The number of insurance companies withdrew from the market and premiums kept moving up. That problem isn't isolated just to Wisconsin. In Florida, we have less participation in the exchange today in 2014, and the majority of counties only have one insurance carrier. As a matter of fact, the county that I represent 3 counties. One of the counties only has one insurance and its carrier, and it's I think the population is close to 500,000. So, last year, Wisconsin received a 1332 state innovation waiver to reestablish a reinsurance program, and other states have applied or received a waiver for reinsurance and other programs. Are 1332 waivers still available for states to use? This is for, again, Mr. Weiss.
They are, yes.
They are. Okay,
Yes.
Thank you. Does it make sense to move a standalone reinsurance bill by itself with no reforms in it? And wouldn't it be better to move legislation to reform the 1332 state innovation waiver to give greater flexibility to states to reform and repair their insurance markets? What do you think of that?
Yeah, I think given the issues surrounding the risk pool that we've all sort of talked about, especially in states like Wisconsin, Iowa, and other states, I think it's important not to just look at reinsurance. Reinsurance shifts to pays, as I stated, but we need to find some new ways to sort of improve that risk pool. So I think a broader 1332 will have some value for states.
Okay. This question is regarding state exchanges again. Mr. Weisky, one of the bills under consideration today would spend $200 million for more state-based exchanges. Wouldn't it make more sense to have private entities running the exchanges rather than government entities? What do you think of that?
I think Wisconsin and a lot of other states like it could not afford with the $200 million to run its own exchange. So in order to have a first-class experience, I think looking at private entities to be able to offer additional options makes a lot of sense.
Okay. Wouldn't it make more sense, again, as you said, to have the private entity running the exchanges rather than the government entities? Can we have businesses assume the financial risk of running an exchange rather than the federal government bankrolling the states? What are the barriers to having private exchanges provide this particular service?
And I think one of the things to understand is that there is still a state regulatory process in place that reviews the plans, reviews the insurers, licenses the agents, licenses the insurers, checks their financial solvency, does everything soup to nuts currently in a number of states. And though they can continue to serve that role, an exchange is functionally a website and an outreach entity to be able to get consumers to sign up for coverage. They existed before the ACA. They exist now after the ACA. And I think what our thought is that having a first-in-class experience and having entities offering with state oversight an exchange role makes a lot of sense financially, that there's a lot less risk.
Thank you very much. Unless the ranking member would like to balance on my time, I yield back.